Hey there, you may not be interested in the Super Bowl, so I thought I would upload an alternative that I'm sure will get almost as many views. This is the complete everyday carry knife collection of me on my silly little channel. We're going to go through an array of knives which I've arranged, as you'll see in the alternative angle, which I'll painstakingly film later on. Arranged in sort of a series of columns of the drabs and then of a nice sort of rainbow effect that I'm quite proud of. And when I got that recent really bright yellow knife, I was really happy that it was just about perfect. So there we have it. I'm going to just go through quite briefly, cover on each one. I have more knives than this. This is like the ones that are in my operative, I could choose them on any given day collection. Spoilers though, lots of them don't get chosen. But we'll start with, this is one from the past, a blast from the past. This is the Rake Knives P801SF. This was, I don't know if they still make it, one of the better knives you can get for not very much money. This to me was when the budget knife production levels and values really sort of took off in about 2016 or so. You could start getting really slick, really nicely made flippers using steels like 14C 28N, which had really great actions, nice sharp blades out of the box. This is when the Chinese industry really started chomping at the heels of the American industry with the advent of knives like this, and this sort of begat things like Civivi knives. And well, look where we are now. There is a new Chinese micro brand making technically very well produced knives every other week. So there we go. But that was one of the first ones for me, and it's still a very good choice. Next up is the Spyderco Spidey Chef, a knife in LC200N with a sort of futuristic angular aesthetic. I quite like this knife. It used to be one of my favorites. I like the steel, I like the handle. I just don't particularly carry it that much, although I did take it out again the other day just for kicks, but that would have been the first time in months. So the Spidey Chef, not carried super often, but definitely part of the permanent collection, and I like it very much. I've got two Almar Eagles here. I've got the swedged version of the Almar Eagle, and then I've got the flat ground version of the Almar Eagle. And these are my favorite knife patterns of all time. I like their aesthetic a lot. Steel materials, everything else wise, cost wise, not the best. You know, you can't really even find them anymore. These are the Japanese made AUS 8 ones. They made them in VG10 for a bit, and then they made them in ZDP 189 for a minute, and that's like probably my actual grail knife. And now they make sort of Chinese-ish versions. Well, they did. I don't even know what the state of this company is at the moment. But these were great. I actually carry and use them a fair bit. Don't know if you can see the blades. They're both users. Even though I like them, I figure why I like something and never use it. And as user knives, well, they're fine. They're just fine. They're comfortable in the hand. They're light in the pocket. But the steel is pretty primitive stuff compared to what is on most of these other knives. Not to say the least about Vanax here in this quiet carry waypoint. Vanax is an amazing steel. Definitely up there with sort of your Magna Cuts as your sort of dual super steels. Great for a pocket knife, for a marine knife, hell, even probably for a fixed blade knife. I don't have that many miles on a fixed blade in Vanax, but this guy is pretty nice stuff. I think they still make this one here. Quite expensive. Quiet carriers generally are, you know, a little bit on the expensive side. But yeah, generally chasing them, great materials, Vanax, titanium, all those sorts of things. Pretty recommendable knife. There's a couple of little awkwardnesses about it. It doesn't quite fit my hand, but I don't really hear the same complaints from as many people. Like, I just find this scalloped out cutout just a little bit thin for my you know, big fat manly fingering finger. So there we go. Next up is a Half Breed Blades MILF folding knife. Now I have this, and I also have the one with the plain edge. Half Breed Blades sent them to me. I like the company, I like their aesthetic. These guys remind me of Zero Tolerance back in the day. You know, the day of Zero Tolerance when they made knives that were like this. Sort of overbuilt, really well assembled, nice sort of actioned frame locks in S30V, S35VN type steels. Very, very cool. Yep, hard working, rugged knives. This one has actually cut, well, killed roadkill, you know, things that were just about to die of being hit by cars. This is like this is my kind of car knife. You can see it's actually got a bit of kangaroo fluff on there still. It's a sad reality that you do hit kangaroos where I live, and there is nothing you can do but put them out of their misery. And so a quick dispatch with a blade, yes, that's disgusting. quick dispatch with a blade has been the order of the day a couple of times, and I do not relish that, and I do not say it to sound like a tough guy, but because it is certainly not tough, because the kangaroos are like, literally a baby could kill it probably, but you know, it's one of those sad things. But it is knife use, so there we are. 2 buck marksmans here. I don't know if they still make the marksman. I don't think they do. One's in 154 cm, this one, and one's in CPM 154. Now, a buddy of mine sent this one to me because he didn't want to look at it anymore, because he'd sent it back twice for a like the issue of the blade banging into the back bolster, and I think all they did for him was sharpen it, and I think he did that twice or something, and it was just a bad experience. So it was like, I just don't want to know about it. You can have it. Because I do love the marksman as a pattern, and yeah, maybe I should just swap this blade onto this one. I don't know, maybe it's because the blade, though, it might be the wrong shape around the tang. Who knows? It's sort of like an integral, very, very vast departure from the usual buck knife. It's got the strap block, which is like a sprung piece of steel along the back of the knife, which holds a little hook loop on the back of the knife tang. Very cool, very unique design. I've never seen the strap block on anything other than the marksman. There is a knack to it, which I never have when I start flopping around for reviews, so I'm not even going to bore you by doing that a million times. Next up is the Lion Steel. What is this one called? God, this is a Maletta. Oh, why do I not remember? I love this knife. The Thrill. The Lion Steel Thrill. I really do like this knife, though. I'll carry this from time to time, although I've got a new one that I'm sort of carrying in place of it a little bit more now for reasons I'll get into. It's got a little hidden pocket clip. You push the little button, pocket clip peeks out, or you can carry it in the bottom of your pocket. It's a very cool little modern take on the classic slip joint knife. M390 steel by Lion Steel. Yes, we've all heard the steel guys talk about it, but you know what? It's for what it is. It's just fine, and maybe you don't want fine for a somewhat expensive knife, but I honestly don't really notice that much unless I'm actually testing for it. To be real. And realness is something we all need to touch grass just a little bit and actually think about these things. This is the Hogue Deca in Magna Cut. Great accessible price for some thin, very well ground, pretty well heat treated Magna Cut. Definitely a Benchmade bug out competitor, and a knife that I'd certainly recommend as a great entry knife, or a knife just for anyone, like a good gift knife. Really basic, can't go wrong with a Hogue Deca in Magna Cut. Never really heard a bad thing. This is when you jump into the comments and tell me your bad thing. The Spyderco Police 4 is one of my favorite knife patterns. It is big and silly. It's sort of, I like it for the same reason I like the Almar. I like the aesthetic. I like just it's big and unapologetically large and long. And I do use it. This has actually got a fair bit of edge wear on it at the moment. I've been using it out in the garden just a little bit. I had put my stretch down somewhere and I hadn't found it for a couple of weeks. So this has been opening all my manure and compost and digging around in my worm pile and all that sort of thing. K390, I've put a black wash on it. I just soaked it in white vinegar for like 3 days, made the knife blade go black, which is a pretty cool effect. It's like a nice even acid wash. I guess the vinegar is an acid, so it acid washed it. So that was cool. This one here had pretty bad QC from the factory. My buddy Chris, who sold it to me or sent it to me or however it happened, put an extra washer in just to make the knife go straight. So yeah, it was a little bit crooked from the factory. The Seki knives from Spyderco sometimes can be. I do like my Spyderco, but it is a commonly heard anecdote. Moving on to another Spyderco is the Crewwear Paramilitary 2, possibly my favorite overall Paramilitary 2. I like the micarta scales that go right up to the edge. Just a generally nice PM2 to use in hand, and some steel that's going to last you a good long time. Definitely that sort of mid-range, high-quality steel. It's not the most stainless stuff in the world, but mine, frankly, is holding up pretty well, the Crewwear here. And eclipsed, of course, in blade performance by the 15V Paramilitary 2 from Triple B. This was a cool thing to see happen last year. Great edge retention. The best edge retention I've had on a steel on this channel. The only other thing beating it is the Raven Knives ceramic. The elastomer ceramic stuff is pretty cool. I think my buddy Dave might be arranging an elastic ceramic Spyderco mule that is coming out, or has come out. I just never have a hope in hell with the Spyderco mules, getting onto them within the time frames of ordering, but I hope to have one of my knife nerd friends will certainly have got one for their own testing that I'm sure I can have a lend of. This is the Honey Badger in D2, and this is about as just a knife as you can get. It is just a knife. And next up is, oh, you know what? After a similar category, really the Lander from NAF's Knives, NAF's. The Lander it's a knife. It's just it's a very basic knife pattern. Its main draw is the scales can just pop on and off without having to disassemble the knife. So you can have all sorts of different scales on your Lander if you want. I guess it's a nice way to have a lower cost knife that's still sort of yours. The D2 on mine has definitely tarnished up just a little bit. Used it a little bit over its lifetime just to get sort of review miles on it, really. But you know, I like it just fine. I like it enough to keep it in my collection. I like Ben, he's a cool dude. But yeah, I'd probably just keep it because it's got the pink scale on it. It's like a different color. Yeah, I don't know. Next up is the Sandrin Torino. I love the Torino. It's one of my favorite knives. I love the red handles. I love the blade material. This stuff is crazy. Goes forever. The tungsten carbide. And you can keep it stropped on a diamond pasted leather strop. You can keep it stropped and sharp on that. And there are some guys finally doing sharpening videos on it. I just haven't had the time or frankly the motivation, nor the need to really, because mine is still, after all these years, very sharp. Still slice a held sheet of paper when it's not a tiny, but yeah, still certainly a sharp edge. So if you do use this so much that you have to sharpen it, it can be done, which is good. A nice little sort of Demco-esque back lock as well. Very similar to the Scorpion. Is it the Scorpion lock? No, the one on this, the AD lock. Yeah. Okay, the Baby Banter. I have this in my collection because it is a red knife. It's probably about it. I like it as a knife. I just don't really carry it because it's tiny. It's coin pocket carry, good handbag knife for the little lady or the person who carries a small bag that you might just want to have a blade in to sharpen a pencil every now and then or something. One of my faves, the TRM Neutron 2. One of the best, if not the best, overall everyday carry knife, in my opinion. Recommend it to everyone if you can get one. They are popular because they are good. 20 CV steel, nice thin blade, comfortable handle, all very neutral. Maybe a bit on the bland looking side, but you can hussy them up with some lovely scales like my candy cane scales here. They're a bit dirty though from hand gunk, but overall, great knife. One of the best, one of my faves. An orange Paramilitary 3 in Rex 45. I keep it on hand as an example of Rex 45 steel, which is a very nice steel. Crewwear-esque maybe. It's good stuff. They did a run of these for a while in a few of their both American and Japanese made knives. I just love the orange handles, like muted burnt orange. Really pops, if you ask me. Gift from a long-time viewer, so thank you very much. The AD 20.5 in the shark foot blade. I don't really carry it that much. I keep it as an example of the knife because these are very, very popular and people like to see them against other knives as an indicator, at least for comparisons and whatnot. But yeah, I just find it a bit wide, a bit large. The steel's not quite great enough for anything really. This is a very basic model in AUS 10. It's fine. It's just fine. It's definitely not a bad knife. It's not for me really. Stuart, I hope you're doing okay. Stuart, I haven't heard from you in years. This is a farm and field tool. Keep again, because it's orange, it's like an example of a traditional knife. I've got probably 3 traditional knives-ish now on the table. I don't really carry this one too much. It's an example of pocket knife 1095 steel though, so I keep it if I may ever be inclined to do a 1095-ish test once again. We've got the Spyderco, the Benchmade Bug Out in 20 CV steel. This is the Workshop limited edition. I got this from the Workshop company. They sent me some sharpeners. They sent this one along with it. So quite difficult to get. So I'm sorry, but I don't know how to put this. You may not be able to get this very easily. You need to be a big, fine and dandy YouTuber like me to get one, maybe. Or you go on the Workshop site and pay like a bit extra for it. But it's worth the extra. It's good. It's good steel. It's 20 CV on a reliable classic bug out frame. It's the most popular EDC knife, is it? I think, and I can sort of see why. If it wasn't a 20 CV and just in the S30V, I might not be as stoked on it. But the 20 CV really does hold a nice sticky sharp edge for a good long time. So good knife. I carried this a fair bit in the later part of last year. My newest knife is the Spyderco H2 Stretch XL. So the Stretch, we all know, is my favorite knife. And so when I saw they did it in a new steel that I hadn't tested, in a hollow grind and slightly larger, I thought I should give that a try. So I did, and here it is. It is, let's for reference, indeed a bit bigger than the Spyderco Stretch to normal. So it's like an extra sort of inch longer overall, like the blade just goes a little bit further than that. But overall, pretty similar. The handle is, it's kind of like the handle's an extra ½ inch and the blade's an extra ½ inch. I don't know why, there is a reason why they hollow grind these. I think it's something to do with the H steel. I don't know how, I've got really no idea how this is going to work. One of my next videos is going to be this versus LC200N versus MagnaCut, a stainless steel, maybe even versus some Nitro 77, a stainless steel or a stain-proof steel edge test roundup. So we'll have a look into that very soon. But yeah, I just got it because it's a version of my favorite knife. Nice and bright yellow. Didn't have a bright yellow knife. Thought it would look nice when I arrange all my knives like a rainbow. And that is probably, sadly, the main reasons. I am not a cool knife guy. Right, the bright green, also probably why I bought this one. This is my kayaking knife. I don't get out kayaking as often as I would. It's one of those things, you know, you say you're gonna do it, and you think of yourself as someone who owns a kayak, but when you try and count on one hand how many times you actually go and drag him out of the shed, put him on the roof of the car, drag him out drive him out to the river, get out, paddle around, get him out of the river, chuck him on the roof of the car, drive him back home. I'm tired just thinking about it. Goodness me, who has time for that? I've got 2 kids and a mortgage. Jeez, what was I thinking? But when I do it, this will be the knife that I carry because it goes out. It's when I'm playing that character of Kayaking Pete. I've got my kayaking knife. It's a Warncliffe, you know. Oh, it's like a naval knife with a, you know, it's got this for twisting sail bolts. Oh, it's silly. You put the head of the turnbuckle thing in this part here. It's like you slide it down to however thick it needs, and you use the knife to turn it. It's all fine and cool, and it's all in type, you know. But well-made knife, super light, super stainless, LC200N, good call. Benchmade 945, the Benchmade 940. That's a little bit too small, so I don't carry it. There we are. I've said it. There is no way I would choose to carry this over even the Bug Out or the Hogue or the TRM Neutron 2. I just think if you want this pattern knife, which is very attractive, I think it's a great looking knife, just get the 940 because it's longer. This is just a short, somewhat thick blade that doesn't cut that great. Yeah, my opinion on it's definitely got less glowing as time's gone on. This is a little Civivi. Oh my God, I don't even know what it's called. Oh yeah, Ostap something. It's a little toothpick of a Civivi knife. Flipper, a Nitro V, you know, pretty cool, but you know, I'd be lying if I said I carried it too often, but you could carry it in very sort of small, slim places, like a little Altoids kit knife or something. Liner lock, front flipper, all that cool stuff there. So a little Civivi, probably just keep it around for aesthetic reasons. Here's one that I do carry fairly often. Benchmade Bailout in M4 steel. Great edge retention, good comfortable neutral handle. I got rid of the, goodness, there was a real turd of a commenter about, because I don't like glass breakers on knives. I just find they dig into my hand. And of course, you say anything about any hand discomfort and you get Captain Iron Hands fucking coming into your comments being like, that guy is gay and has sex with men because he had a sore thing on his hand once from a knife glass breaker that no one ever uses apart from people who pretend they're going to break glass with their knives. So yeah, big book of glass breaking stories, fucking blank sheet of paper more like. Anyway, I love the knife though, it's a good knife. The TRM Atom, again, one of my favorite EDCs. If the Neutron was a little bit small for you, buy the Atom with confidence. This is some 3D denim and micarta handles, love them. Love everything about this knife as well. I do not know which I prefer. I probably prefer the Neutron just slightly, but the Atom is also great. We've got the Swish Buoy from Spyderco. This was the Knife Joy exclusive edition in M390 steel. I've done a couple of videos on this. I'm keeping it around, it's staying in the collection. Lots of people want to buy it from me. I say no, be gone, because it's been used and abused, and it's mine now. It's mine. I've even managed to get some rust spots on the M390. I suck at owning this knife, that's for sure. But it's a good knife, and I can see why people do like it, and it's a bit baffling why they don't keep making it. Spyderco Stretch 2, my favorite knife, my favorite blade. Talk about it often. It's my K390, little prince of a knife. I love it dearly. I use it for everything. It has been very well worn. It has not let me down. I love the steel. I love the pattern. I love how it feels in the hand. I like it more than the paramilitary 2. And if you think it's the other way around, do the challenge. Take the challenge, carry this for a week, carry this for a week. As a user knife, see which one you like. As a playing with knife, yeah, obviously. But me, I'm a tough rancher. I use my, no, not really, but I do use this blade often, and it's just got less to go wrong in it than the paramilitary. The paramilitary, when it's this complicated, and I get my knives often literally covered in mud and dirt, it's just a lot grittier to clean out. Whereas this, I just run under a tap and it's fine. That seems to be how it is for me anyway. I know lockbacks can be a little bit finicky, but that's my story. The Spyderco Native 5 in Spy 27, I keep it on hand as an example of Spy 27 steel, and I would have carried this once or twice in the last year at best. It's a very boring knife. It is, again, like the Honey Badger, it's just a knife, but it's a fine knife, and it's certainly a recommendable knife. I've got a few of these for people, and they seem to really enjoy them as their one knife. So maybe that's the best way to think about the Native 5. And then lastly, on the table in the box is the Advanced Knife Bro QSP Knives Stump Lifter with its bottle cap, flathead screw there, and it's a little 154 cm hollow ground blade. Very, very well done little knife from Advanced Knife Bro and QSP. They sold very, very well too. Did very well for him and Blade HQ. What a friendly little endeavor that all was. I believe it took like 3 years of emailing though, so probably way too much work for me to ever do something similar, but I certainly tip the old hat to AKB for getting his little dream classic, dream traditional knife made. So look forward to seeing hopefully a version that doesn't have the cap lifter in it. That'd be cool, because it'd be a really nice, that'd like half the width of it, or take about a third of the width of it, and it would be quite cool as just a little Barlow style knife as well. But you know what, he's going to do what he's going to do. Or you could add another tool here. You could add like a mustache comb or a cigar cutter. Yeah, that'd make it manly. Sausage fork. Yeah. Anyway, really cool to see. Love it a lot. And also, I only really have space in my collection for one fixed blade. In my like go bag or my go shelf for one fixed blade at the moment, and that is currently the TRC Polheim. It's in for review, but it's definitely probably my favorite EDC fixed blade of all time by now. I've been using it as much as I can use it. Like whenever I need to use a knife, I rush in and grab this one if I don't already have it in my pocket. The Magna Cut is holding up splendidly. It's got great edge retention. I haven't sharpened it since my edge test, and I've used it a whole bunch on dirty things, and I reckon it's still going to cut a held sheet of paper. It's getting a bit dull, but my goodness, this is weeks or months of edge retention, and it will still cut. It will still cut, you know. Doug Marcator would pass that as it will cut, even still. But great knife. It's super neutral, you know, it's a black and silver EDC slab scale G10 handle, Magna Cut, just the little extra levels of fit and finish, and it's just a very nice example of such a knife, and it's definitely taken the place of like my Falcon even F1s and just those sorts of blades. Come winter, I'll probably be rocking my Creeley Bushcraft knife again. This is a great fire making knife. This grind here isn't as great on the fine whittling sort of tasks, but it's great for everything else. Great for opening big heavy bags of poop and that sort of thing. So yeah, loving that a whole lot as well. That, my friends, is my current EDC state of the collection. I've got a few other little bits and bobs. I'm keeping on hand my buddy Kane's. It's too nice to use, you know, and I'm sure I will eventually use it a bit more. But this is the Assetto, great little front flipping knife. It's a bit of a safe queen, because it was like his prototype. It's pretty nice. It's number 1, M390. So I'd like to bust that out and show it every now and then. Pretty cool knife. The Assetto by Kane, what is your name? Oh, Kane Granbo Knives. It's good, but I feel bad, you know, I feel bad if I lost it or something like that. Every other knife on the table, even my Almars, I'm open to losing, but they're a little bit special. Spyderco Delicas, I got a couple of them too. I've replaced them with the stretchers pretty much for his K390 Delica and Super Gold Delica. This one's my wife's EDC knife. This is one that Teresa likes to carry and use. I thought I'd show those as well. And then I've got the Almar Falcon. This one I don't use anymore. This is like a slim, skinny version of the Almar Eagle. the Almar Eagle there, and it's just been sharpened to the point where if I sharpened it a couple more times, it would actually be ruined. So I'm just sort of keeping it as a memory knife. Lots of testing and stuff has been done on that AUS 8 in the Falcon there. Love the little knife. I like the Eagle a little bit more. And the last thing, for some reason I have the Wee Knives band here from Ben. Again, I think I just retain it because I like Ben as a dude, but it's just a knife. It's just a knife. So I don't even keep it in my box anymore because I've got enough blue knives to have shunted this off into the collector's drawer, which is kind of a sad place to be, to be honest. But better than on eBay or in the bin, so there we go. Righto, that's the video. I hope your team wins, whatever your team is. I hope they both win. So enjoy the Super Bowls, and I'll see you all in the next film. Goodbye.